Hi guys, my name is Emily Easton and I'm the recruitment coordinator for the Des Moines service area, and we're putting together a series of videos to help new and maybe even not new foster families become familiar with all the different resources. And there's a lot of people involved in different teams and things like that, and so just helping everyone have a quick and easy place to get familiar with those services. So today we're talking with Kara, and she's going to talk a little bit about enhanced foster homes. Kara, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, my name is Magnison. I work with Four Oaks out of the Iowa City office, but I work specifically with the Enhanced Foster Home Program, covering all of the four service areas that Four Oaks currently provides foster and adoptive services for. I'm a social worker and a foster parent, and yeah, I've been a social worker for about 15 years and a foster parent for about 5.
Yeah, I love it. There's so many people that we've been talking to that foster and adopt themselves because it's, not just a job, but something that's so close to their heart. So thanks for sharing that. Yep. So today we're
Absolutely.
talking about enhanced foster homes, or EFH, if we're going to, throw out all of those acronyms and alphabet soup that is foster care. So if you hear EFH, we're talking about enhanced foster homes. Let's just ask the obvious question. What is it?
The Enhanced Foster Home Program is a program that the state of Iowa put together in 2017, moving forward, trying to work with families and youth that are needing more support in terms of the kids are usually coming out of a PIMA facility or a residential treatment facility, and the thought was that we would surround the foster parents that are taking these specific children with additional services and additional case management to help them be stable, to help the kids be stable, and then to give everybody a pretty sound basis for moving forward and being successful.
Yeah, so you're saying you're providing them with additional resources and services. What would that look like? Like, how is an EFH foster home different than, your typical foster home?
That's a great question. We can start off with some training. So first off, any of the foster homes that we have that decide that they are open and willing to become an enhanced foster home have to go through an additional 20 hours of training, just to kind of meet some of the needs of the kids that would be coming into their home. It's pretty broad, and one of the best things about this is that if a child comes into your home with specific issues or concerns that you have, we have the ability to find additional trainings and additional supports to try to meet your and the kids' needs. So if a foster family is saying, yep, I'm open to taking this child in my home, but I'm really not sure if I have the skills to meet a kid that has a major depressive disorder and has had some hospitalizations from that. What we can do is we can get them some more training from that. We can help them find specialists in their areas, because every support or every service area is different. So trying to find supports in the area that are going to best meet your needs, and then try to really create a team atmosphere around that child and that foster family to try to help them be as successful as possible.
So when you're talking about these trainings, are they like required for licensure to be an enhanced foster home? What does that look like as far as, licensing and being officially an enhanced foster home?
Yep. So all of our foster homes are foster homes. So you have to meet the basic DHS requirements that all of us have to meet, with the 6 trainings a year. Your home has to be appropriate. All of the main rules and guidelines are there. Enhanced foster home is just another layer on top of that. So some of the 20 hours of training would be able to be applicable to your 6 hours that you have, but usually the families that we have with EFH homes go above and beyond with their trainings in terms of they never have to worry about getting their hours in.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. And then thinking kind of about the kids, you said a lot of them might be coming out of a PMIC facility. First of all, what is a PMIC facility if you're new to this world? And then also, what are some common behaviors or, things that an enhanced foster home would want to be equipped to manage? Like, just every situation is of course different. We're not saying that, like, the examples that you give are for sure for every kid, but just give us kind of an idea of what that would look like.
Yeah, so putting me on the spot with the PMIC acronym,
Love that.
I believe it is Psychiatric Medical Institution for Children.
Okay.
Please don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close, and I got all the PMIC in there, so we're going to
Great.
go with it. And so a PMIC is basically a facility with a kid who has some emotional or mental health needs, and a lot of times kids will go into a PMIC to kind of get settled on meds, to kind of do some behavioral stuff, learn more about what their disorder might be and what that looks like, and then also helping the caregivers to be able to care for them when they come home. So it's just basically an inpatient for mental health services for kids in the state of Iowa. And some of the things that you're going to see, a lot of our kids that come into the EFH program have a lot of attachment issues. Being in foster care causes some attachment issues, unfortunately, and some of our kids are also going to be older. So most of the kids that come into the EFH program are 10 or above.
Okay.
So you might have some concerns about attachment. You might have concerns about depression and anxiety, ADHD. So some of these sound pretty standard, right? Like what we normally would expect for some kids coming into foster care. But these kids are kind of a step above with some of the needs that they have in terms of being able to cope with them and being able to get their needs met. I would say some of the biggest behaviors is so a lot of like there's some of the arguing that you might get with the oppositional defiant disorder kind of issues, or so thinking about that, and then couple that with being a teenager in the foster care system, and that also adds just another additional layer to some of the stuff that's going
Right. So
on.
it sounds like you're saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're saying that, the challenges or needs that these kids have are similar to what you would expect, but maybe on a moderate or severe level. Like
Yeah,
you're struggling with them in a way that's really hard.
absolutely. I mean, what I can tell you is that I've seen some of the behaviors in children that we brought into our home that are in the EFH program, and our kids weren't in the EFH program. So I don't know that it's not anything bigger or more concerning than you would see with a child that's already in the foster care system. I think it's just that these kids have had the experience of going into a PMIC or going into a residential treatment facility, and wanting them to come out and be successful as possible.
Yeah, sure. So another question I have is, how do you become an EFH? Like, so maybe like
Great.
do you start right away when you're initially licensed, or like for our families that are, have been licensed for a while and they think maybe we have the capacity to do more and serve, a different kind of kid. How do you make that transition?
I would say yes to both of those.
Okay.
So if you are a family, if you're a family that's coming in and one of you is like a social worker and the other one of you is a teacher, and there's two of you and you both have been like in the field for 10 or 15 years and you're brand new foster parents, that puts you in a different place, right? Like, because you have all this experience working with kids and youth. But typically what we would ask for is that we have families that have been fostering for at least 2 years
Mm-hmm.
and have been fostering kind of in the age range, or at least have some familiarity with it. So we generally don't have a lot of kids 10 and under that are in the foster or the enhanced foster care program. So if you're looking at doing this, being open to working with teenagers or older youth, and then being licensed for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
being open and having a good relationship with the Department of Human Services is a must because we work really closely with them. Having a really good sense of humor and high flexibility, and being opening to partnering with different agencies because it brings in a lot of people to provide that support. And so if working with a lot of different people isn't really your jam, then this isn't going to be a good program. But if you feel that you have the ability to be flexible, you're interested in helping kids be stable, and get the most that they can out of being in your home, then the EFH program might really be for you.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you just described like what sort of families are a good fit for this. And then if a family is hearing this and they're like, "Oh, I think I am that kind of family. I think this is something I want to pursue." Would they reach out to their caseworker? Would they reach out
Yep.
to you? What's the next step to actually become that?
Reaching out to your caseworker is going to be the best way to get a hold of you, or get more information about the program and get kind of the ball rolling on that. We have a very small number of EFH homes right now, and we we need more. The more that we have, the more supports that the ones that are currently doing it will have in terms of respite, or just being able to have another family to bounce kind of things off of. We know that especially this last year has really kind of brought in the need for um, needing to have that sense of community in our lives. And so when you're in EFH home, you feel like you're a little bit more secluded. And so having more families would be really helpful in terms of just feeling like that's more of a normalized program that we have.
Right.
But talking to your caseworker, we will hopefully soon, within the beginning of the next year, have some information up on the website that would give you some things, and then would have a direct link back to me if you had any questions or concerns. You can absolutely email me if you're interested, and I'll ask Emily to put my information
Yeah.
on the end of the website or at the end of the video, or on the YouTube channel. But those are the best ways to get a hold of it, is to either try to get a hold of me specifically or get a hold of your caseworker.
Yeah, that's great. And then one of the last questions I have is, how does it affect the matching process? Like when kids come in
Yeah.
and they, you know what I mean? Like kind of how does that change, or does it look the same, or just talk about that a
Yep. That's a great question. So one of the things that's important is if you come into the EFH program, um, your capacity may change. So if you're a family that's traditionally taken 5 kids, we may ask you to reduce your capacity just in general so that you have more ability to focus on the kids that are in your home with the special needs. Like it doesn't always have to be that way, or the special requirements, but um, at least initially we generally ask people to reduce their capacity for a little bit. The matching process in and of itself, it's kind of like a concurrent planning
Okay.
situation where when we get a referral for EFH, we take that to all of our EFH families in that area, and we ask, is this a family that would be a match for, or a child that would be a match for your family? Would this be a kid that you'd be willing to talk to and learn about? We don't just say, hey, can you come and take this kid from the hospital? We try to do at least 2 pre-visits.
Okay.
So one where either the family is visiting the child at the facility or where they're currently at, and one where the child is coming to your home. That's the bare minimum. We can do more visits up until that child moves into a foster home to try to make sure that it's a good match.
Mhm.
We try to take a little bit more time with the matching process and that part of it. At the same time that we're looking through our EFH homes, we're also looking for traditional foster homes to be able to take this on as a placement. So when I say that these are the kids that we have in care anyway, that's really what it is. It's not like we're getting like this is a special population of children. These are the children that we need to care for. And we're asking for you to let us give you additional supports to care for kids that you're caring for anyway. That's really what the program is about.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. And I think that, again, sometimes even when it comes to being a regular foster parent, people feel like, oh, I have to be special or I have to know everything. But knowing that if you feel like, oh, I have the capacity to take on a little bit more, but I'm not going to have to do this alone. I'm going to have that extra support. I think is really helpful to families who are considering this. That's great. Is there anything else that you just want to, share with foster families or about the program?
I think the program's great. I mean, not just because I run it, but I think that it has a lot of growth opportunities to be able to do some of that support for families. We're already taking the kids in our homes. Why not experience being able to have that additional case support or that additional community support to be able to do the hard work that you're already doing? Um, the limitations about being a foster parent for 2 years, or we ask for a whole lot of different things in terms of what your background is anyway for being foster parents. And
Mhm.
I got to say, having a sense of humor and being flexible are probably the biggest ones when it comes to EFH in terms of just being able to roll with things sometimes, um, and realizing that it does get better.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a great message, and just always, of course, like keeping in mind that we're all just trying to meet kids wherever they're at, right? And they're coming
Yep.
to us from different challenges and different strengths, and we're just trying to meet those where they're at. And these kids deserve a stable, healthy home. And if you can provide that, that's fantastic. So that's great. All right. Well, awesome. This has been Kara, and she has been talking with us about enhanced foster homes. Kara, we're so glad that you were able to share this information with us and help us get the word out about all these resources that are available for our kids and for our families.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.